Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to show you guys my monthly setup budget for May. I recently posted a photo on Snapchat and on Facebook, and I got a lot of requests to show how I set up my budgets monthly. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the person in the background fixing their lawn. I tried to film this video like 3 different times, and every single time something has happened, so we're just gonna push through it. And again, I apologize for the background noise. I'm gonna start off showing you guys my book. This is the cover that I use. It just says Family Budget 2018. This is an Erin Condren Deluxe monthly planner. It isn't specifically for budgeting, but that's what I used it for. If you're interested in this specific book, I know they're 50% off right now, and I also will link a discount code in the description that you can use, and you'll get an additional $10 off. So this is the color scheme and the little quote that is for May in this book. The quote just says, "Being kind never goes out of style," and I truly am a firm believer in this quote. I think these colors are my favorite so far. I love the coral and the peach colors together. So for every month you get different pages, and the first page that you see here is a dot grid. At first I was using this for my sinking funds and my envelopes just to track how much I'm putting in. I'm also going to be making a separate video on the envelope system and on sinking funds, so stay on the lookout for that. I am so out of breath, y'all. I'm 38 weeks pregnant and I can barely talk, so we'll try to get through this as much as possible. But anyways, for this page, I haven't really decided yet what I want to do. I liked how it was working for the sinking funds, but we don't really have many sinking funds, and I kind of know the numbers that we put into our envelopes each month. So I feel like it was a waste of a page. So I'm trying to think of anything to do with it. And if you guys know of anything, please leave a comment down below. So this is your month at a glance page. And for this, I like to track our paydays, which we have on the 10th and the 24th. And I also like to track the days that our bills are due. So on the 2nd, we have Wi-Fi. On the 9th, we have Netflix. And on the 19th, we have Hulu. I'm not sure if they'll take that out on that Friday or that Monday because it is on a Saturday, but I did want to mark the day that we're scheduled for it to be auto drafted out. I also use the month at a glance as a weekly tracker. I track our groceries, our gas, our household, and our unbudgeted. I like to track these because these are the categories that we tend to overspend in, and I also like to see how we're doing per week to see if I need to adjust the budget, or if it's working fine, or if we don't need as much money. It's just good to see how much you're spending per week and per day, and to see how much you have left for the month. So I like to use this section down here to add any surprise events or things that don't happen every single month. For example, a birthday. So I did write down Ryan's birthday, which is on the 5th, and we're going to probably be doing something for his birthday. I also put in that we're adding daycare this month. Carter starts daycare in August, so we want to get a head start on that. I also put in that Mother's Day is on the 13th. Not sure how much we can do with a fairly new baby, but in case Ryan or we have something special to do for Mother's Day, I wanted to add that in there. And also his brother has a graduation party on the 19th, so we're going to give him a gift for his graduation party, so I wanted to add that in as well. When you flip the page, these are your two setups for both pages. You have 5 boxes on this side, and you have a notes page on here. On the page with the 5 boxes, I use this as my weekly tracker page. I said on the monthly view that I do track those certain categories, and this is where I document it. So every Wednesday I do a weekly check-in. I tally up how much we've spent, and I mark that here. So the way that I mark what we spend and on what certain day and how much we spend is I use these color-coded stickers that are for each specific category, and when we make a purchase for groceries or gas or household, or a purchase that's not in our budget, I go ahead and write where it's from, how much it is, and I put a sticker with that color on the day that the purchase was made. I then go to the page with the 5 boxes, and I count all the way up to that Wednesday, and I write what was spent. I look at what we have for that month, I subtract it, and that's what we have remaining for the next week. I'm going to make another separate video on how to track your weekly expenses, so I can get more in depth in that video, so stay tuned for that as well. The next page is the notes page, and this is one of my favorite pages to do and to set up. Here I just wrote that this is the May monthly budget. On the sidebar here, I have to pay, so I write down a running checklist of the bills and the day that the bills are due, and when they get auto-drafted out of our account, I go ahead and check that off just to make sure our bills are keeping the same bill date and the auto-draft date and that they are getting paid. On the bottom half of the sidebar here, I have a sticker that says leftover money, and the reason for that is because sometimes our checks are bigger than what we expected, so after doing the budget, we have a lot of money left over, and that is our potential savings. So I go ahead and I add that in here for paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. And then at the bottom I have a box that says total savings, and that's where I total those two numbers up, and that's our potential savings for that month. On the main section of the notes page, I have a paycheck 1 section, a paycheck 2 section, and I also have a total income so we can know how much we're making in a whole that month. I have a list of our expenses, the budgeted amount, the actual number that we spend, and at the end of the month I see if we're over or under, and I write that number here. I also have a section where we write our total expenses as well, so that we can see how much we're budgeting and look at how much we made for that month and kind of see if it looks okay or if we need to adjust it. When you get started on budgeting, it gets kind of difficult to come up with a setup that works for you and something that's very functional for you and for your life and for your money flow. So I kind of wanted to show my progress from when I started to when I am now. And let me just warn you guys that February was the first month that I started budgeting, and I had absolutely no idea how I wanted to set it up or how I wanted it to be functional. So fair warning, you guys, it is completely different from the month of May. So this was the monthly view for the month of February. I went ahead and just hid our paycheck amounts just for privacy reasons. As you can see, it's very messy. The numbers aren't really adding up to what we budgeted. It was just hard in the beginning trying to get used to being on a budget and setting up a budget that worked for both of us. But it's crazy to look at this and to look at May and see how much organized I got and to see how more functional it became as the months went on. Here's a view of our March weekly transaction page just to kind of see how it looks towards the end. Again, this was fairly new. I was in the beginning of budgeting and tracking, so there was a lot of times where I didn't write down what we spent. I just kind of forgot. It really wasn't a habit yet, but this just kind of shows you how it looks with all the different colors and different categories. This was our budget for March, and as you can see, it's completely different from the budget for February. This is when I started to actually use stickers to organize and to make it functional and to give it separate categories. This is when I was doing paycheck to paycheck view instead of a monthly view that I started doing this month, which I honestly like 100 times better. I recommend doing a monthly view over a paycheck to paycheck view. But this just looks so much more organized. It's so much more functional. You can read it so much better. And this is the view for April that we're doing now. It looks very similar to March. But this is just what works for me. I love the setup that I use now, and I love the organization and the separation and the categories that I started to use. I just wanted to show you guys that because in the beginning it can seem like you don't know what you're doing and you're super confused, but as the months go by, you'll definitely see your progress and you'll definitely find stuff that works for you. I did want to mention that I'm starting a finance and planning series on my channel. I'll be uploading a video every Friday. It's going to be called Finance Friday, and it's going to be consistent of videos about my budgeting, weekly check-ins, setups, my budgeting essentials, plan with me's. So if that's something that you're interested, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss when that series starts. I also wanted to mention that this was a walkthrough. This isn't me explaining the budgeting process. This isn't me explaining how to set things up. This is kind of just showing you guys my first process of getting started to my budget for that month, kind of showing you guys what I use for each page and how it works functionally for me. If you enjoyed this video and got inspired to get a hold of your finances, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'm also going to put a link in the description for you to get a hold of this book. Like I said, they are 50% off, and using the link you'll get an additional $10, so definitely don't miss out on that deal. I'll see you guys in my next video.